This time I have a Philips DVP3982 DVD player. This one doesn't play. Upon initial inspection, I found that it was missing the loading belt, which seems to be a simple solution, right? Well, I loaded a disc, it started to play, it played for about 11 seconds or so, and then just froze, and everything locked up. So this one here could be a bit of a challenge, and it really wasn't what I thought it was going to be until I tried something. Let's check it out. Got a Philips DVD player. This is a DVP3982. The drawer is just sticking out of this thing. I don't know anything about it. This is basically a trash can find, and we like trash can finds here because sometimes we can make them work and turn them into a perfectly good working little playback machine. Regular standard DVD player, always good to have. This one's got an HDMI output on it as well as your standard audio, video, and component outputs, and digital audio out coaxial wise. This is from January 2009, and as I say, I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it works. I don't know what it does. This is how I found it, with the disc drawer sticking out. Fortunately for me, I do have a couple of Philips remote controls, so if I can get it to work, I have a remote that will work it. So there's the unit itself. See, these ones are pretty standard. I think I've worked on units like this before. I wonder if there's a belt in here that's broken. Oh, there is a belt that's broken. Well, that would explain why the disc tray is just doing that, because, well, you can see that there's no belt in here at all. I wonder where the belt went. Is there a piece of a belt in here somewhere? There's probably a broken belt sitting in here somewhere, but let's throw a new belt on here for starters, and I might just happen to have one that just might fit. It's not a new belt, it's a used belt, but will this particular one fit? Let's find out. If that's all that's wrong with it, it just had a belt broken or missing, that'd be a great score, but there's probably more wrong with it than that. Well, it says it's on. Oh. Well. Might this one actually work? Let's load a disc and find out. I was getting very hopeful at first, until it only played for 12 seconds, and then froze. So this one does have a problem with it. In fact, none of the buttons work. Now, how about if I try to open? Well, that part works. It opens, and it closes. And then that's all it does. It says loading. So this has got a reading problem. Okay, I guess I do have something to fix on this one, if it's possible. But as you can see, it's having trouble. And it hasn't read the table of contents. It just sits, and now it just stopped. And now it says no disk. But it did initially read it initially. And this disc isn't in that bad a shape. This is a DVD-R. What is this one? This is also a DVD-R. This was recorded on DMR E20. I don't think that's going to make any difference. So this one was recorded on my Toshiba. These machines will play DVD-R because I've got a few of these that I use, and they do play them fine. But It's not loading this disk, so I guess that means I gotta take the mechanism apart and see why it's not reading the disk. We'll start by removing the disk clamp assembly, and we'll just take a look at the laser itself. Looks clean. I don't see any dirt on the lens.
Oh look, it's a Sony.
So this will be a dual frequency, dual wavelength laser. If I put it into night shot, we'll see both the red and the infrared. So there's the red, and there's the infrared. What I am wondering is this a power supply related problem? Because it did start initially, and I'm thinking maybe the power supply is what's causing this. Maybe one of these filter caps over here is bad and we're getting excessive ripple. Well, we can certainly look for ripple. I'll just grab my scope and we'll just look and see if there's any ripple coming down the power lead. Because if we have excessive ripple, that certainly could affect operation. And it's pretty easy to check. Just clip on the scope probe and take a look at the DC voltages coming from the power supply. We'll look and see if there's any that have got any weird noise on them. So I'm looking at just DC voltages here, and I don't see a lot of excessive ripple. I do see some. Again, I didn't see a lot of ripple, but I did see a little bit of ripple on actually all the lines. So I'm going to pull the power supply, and we'll just take a look at the ESR on some of these caps here, because it could be that one of the caps is starting to creep up in ESR, and that could cause either the voltage to drop a bit or just a little bit of excessive ripple, and that certainly could cause problems. Circuitry wise, this is pretty simple. We'll just make sure that everything is completely discharged as I short everything out here, and make sure that the main filters themselves are also completely discharged. We don't need to get a shock. We don't need to get any sparks. And I'm going to check both of these filters. There's a 470 at 16 volt, and there's this 1000 microfarad at 16 volt, and there's another little one here as well. But we'll just check them. I'll just unsolder one lead from them so that I can get an accurate read, and we'll take a look and see what they're like capacity wise. There's only 3 caps on here that really could cause a problem, and chances are it's just one that's that's what's causing it. Again, I don't know, because I've never had this fault before on one of these. It could be the motor that's bad. That's always a possibility. I doubt it's the laser. Could be motor, could be a problem in the circuitry, but it also, I think, could be a problem in the power supply. That could certainly cause reading problems if there was excessive amount of noise or if the voltage had dropped off a bit. Let's check the 1000 microfarad, and we'll check that one first. This is measuring 0.2. Now 1000 at 16 should be like 0.1. So, well, actually it should be 0.09, and we're getting 0.2. That's a 16 volt. This one here might be problematic. I'm going to change that one. The other ones, let's just check them while I'm here. 0.7, that's probably okay for that one. And 0.2. So that's a 470 at 16 volt. 470 at 16 should be 0.18, and I'm measuring 0.12. 0.2. Yeah, that one might be creeping up a bit too. But that 1000 certainly is. The small one it's a 47, and it looks to be okay. I'm going to try changing the 1000 and just see whether that one will fix it. We'll try just the one, just for starters, and see. They see what this power supply is. So easy to get at. It's a no-brainer. It's amazing how simple they got these players down to by this point in time. There's the 1000 out. Should be out. Alright, let me go find a 1000 at 16 volts. In addition to that cap that I just changed out, I just noticed, look at these pins here. They all look like they're cracked, and there's a few others that I noticed on here too. I'm just going to go over the board here and just resolder a few of these connections on the board, like the power connectors. I can't see what I'm shooting, so I don't know whether I've got whether I'm framed up or not, because I'm looking at the board through a magnifying glass. A couple of these connections looked like they were questionable. Okay, I'm going to pop the board back in. See if it'll play for more than 12 seconds. Last time it played for about 12 seconds and then died, so let's just see if it'll continue to play. Okay, that's where it froze. Right there. And we'll have sound on here, for sure. Okay, well I guess what I can do now is just let this thing play and see whether it will continue to play, and maybe we fixed it. So far so good. Okay, I guess I'll let this play. That will be, if that was all it was a bad cap, that had just gone up in ESR ever so slightly. That's a new one to me. But sometimes that's all it takes, is just a slight increase in the ESR, and your ripple goes up a little bit, and the voltage could drop a bit. That might be all it was just a cap and some connections. There was a few connections that were also bad. That cap also, when I put my finger on it, I could feel it getting warm. And the new one I've got in there, I don't feel anything on it. So maybe that's all it was. I guess time will tell, but I'm going to just let this play now, and we'll see how it runs. It's always good to have these little cheap DVD players. I like them. I use them for like some of the stuff that I run on my in-house system, that I just have videos playing on my in-house system just for content, for testing and so forth. And I just use little cheap players like this feeding into modulators and just leave them run. So far it's playing, so fingers crossed. That's all it was that cap. As I say, this is the one here, when I put my finger on it, I could feel it getting warm. But I'm going to let it play, and if it plays just through from beginning to end, because you saw it before, it wasn't even spinning up. It would just sit there and do nothing, and now it started playing. I'll just try ejecting the disc and reload it and see if it will spin up. It's spinning. It identifies it as DVD video, and it actually picked up right from where it left off. That's kind of cool. That's what these Philips machines do. If you take the disc out and put it back in, it'll actually pick up right where it left off. And if you want to start it again, you press the button on the remote. Oh, what do we have here? I found an old news story. I guess this was on the back end of the tape that the air show was on. I wonder what's on this.
This is in South Richmond at a place called the Pleasure Stables. This was intended to be an indoor riding ring. Construction began just this morning using prefabricated roof trusses.
My dad was working on this when it collapsed. He fell off the roof. There he is. There's my dad. He was working on this riding ring.
Gust of wind. 7 more to go and it would have been there.
6 people were under the roof when it collapsed and all were taken to hospital. But the injuries were confined to a couple of broken arms and a possible broken leg.
So this machine's still playing. It's been going an hour and 50 minutes. That was old news footage that I stuck onto the end of the air show. I forgot all about it, and I was just watching it, and that popped up as I'm testing this. That was from 1985 when that happened. I go to my other disc. See, it's played this disc through perfectly, no problem. So I think I'm fairly confident to say that this machine is now working. I'm going to put this on auto repeat and just leave the machine, because I got the remote here, just leave the machine running all night. Well, it's now the next day. This has been running for the past over 24 hours now. My air show disc. I've got it on auto repeat. And it's still working, so I think I'm fairly confident in saying that this one is now another one that's been saved from the scrap heap. I never did find the remnants of the belt. I don't know whether it fell out and whoever gave it to me, it was given to me with the tray sticking out like that, so yeah, another one fixed. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.